So, going along with the theme of the dress, the earlier video. So, when I was pregnant with my son and pregnant with my daughter the following year, I had gained 70 pounds per pregnancy. And in between the two pregnancies, I lost only 30 pounds. So I was 100, maybe 15 pounds when I got pregnant with my son, and gained 70 pounds, then lost only 30 pounds, and gained another 70 pounds with my daughter. And so when I was pregnant with my son, though, I realized, so there are females who know this, when you are pregnant, you start producing colostrum. And I didn't know what that was when it came, because I admitted I breastfed my children in a way, like I'll get to that. So I didn't realize that that occurred, and I was like, oh, well, what is this? And so realized it happened if I put a little bit of pressure on my breasts, and I was like, huh. So it was when I was in the shower. I was like, I wonder, what can I do? Because I knew that I couldn't aim with a firearm after my head injury on Palm Sunday in 2000. I tried, what I could do pre-head injury, where I could get every bullet in the central 3 circles, and then only 3 that were in the bottom right corner. But other than, and that was the first time I ever shot a BB gun, by the way. First time ever, and I'm putting a little extra oomph in that, because you're supposed to only pump the BB thing like so many times. I guarantee if I actually had, with what I did to that BB gun, if I had actually shot it at a person or an animal, I probably would have punctured the skin, if not actually gone through. Anyway, so that being said, I was like, well, I wonder. Because after I researched what it was, I was like, oh, okay, so that's what that is. So I started aiming. Because I wanted to see if I could. Why not? Why not? I mean, I was in the shower. Nobody could see me. So, at least I thought. And so, well, up to a point. And so I'm just like, And so until I got it to where I could hit that cross section between the tiles, right in the center of the T. And I was like, yeah. I was so proud of myself. I still am. I'm still pretty proud of myself for that. Might not mean much to others. It meant a lot to me. It wasn't a big accomplishment, but it was an accomplishment nonetheless that I could appreciate. And so I thought it was funny. I thought it was pretty cool. So one day, I was like, hey, to my now dead ex-husband, but when he was my husband, Robert, come here, I got something to show you. And he was like, what? So he comes into the bathroom. He looks at me and he goes, what? And the first time I did it, I was like, look, I got between got the cross section, like right there. And, and I was against the back wall, like where the shower was. So not only was I like having to deal with the suction from the bathroom door being open and changing that, But I also had to deal with like the distance, and then the water going down too. And it was like, psh, got it. And he looks at me and he's like, you're retarded. And I'm like, come on, that's so cool. So I felt ornery. He left. And I was like, all right, let me. Got it. Got it. Hey, Robert, come here. So my now dead ex-husband, then husband, comes back in to the bathroom, looks inside the shower curtain, and I got him right between the eyes. I'm like, yes! I got in trouble for that. It was worth it. Because he didn't know what to do. He just gotta... What was that? I was like, I got you. I got you square between the eyes. That's right, I did that. He was so mad. It is what it is. It was worth it. It was worth it. I still can laugh because I'm above ground and he is not. I am breathing, he is not. So it works out for me. Because I can live to tell that story. And so I found that so fun. I was like literally like a toddler, like, or, a little kid that like when they realize that they could push something off of the tray and then, their parents or guardians will go and pick it up and put it back on there. They'll play with it and go a couple days go by. Hey, Robert, come here. Why? Right between the eyes. And the crowd goes wild. He got so mad. I didn't care. I still don't because it's funny. So proud of myself. So like... Every week, at least 3 times a week, Robert, come here. What? Gotcha! And every time, just square between the eyes. And I tested myself each time. I did. Before, the days in between, I was constantly like, oh, it's a little off. Gotta redo that. There it is. Let me see if I can go this way. D. Got it. I did it. I was able to get the T, like the for the like top row of tiles right at the first. It's like, that's right. I did that. Nobody saw me. I don't care. I did it. And then I would like take different levels. Like, so I'd be like all the way against the wall, angled because of the lip of the tub, and got it. Score. And then, once I got fairly proficient at that, I was like, all right, angle a little this way, get that corner level, and score! That became like the equivalent of a video game arcade for me. Like, how guys go there, like, yes, I beat it. It's like, beat that. Beat that. What? Not that I did that in the shower. But in my head, it was like, yeah, that's right. What? I did that. And I have told so many, like, moms about that. And, they're just like, I didn't do that, but I kind of wish I did that. So I kind of would be funny. So I just like, I remember, it's kind of weird. It's like, yeah, I know. But like, I was like, what? Right in between them. Always, if I was just slightly off, like it could be like a little 1/2 of a millimeter off, I was mad. It's like, okay, I That was my competition to myself. And then when I got proficient at the upward, I was like, all right, let me go down. Got it! And then after all of that, I'm like, all right, let me try, like, I position this way. See that? Got it! Go! And again, in my head, the crowd goes wild. She got goal! Touchdown! Yes! She goes left. I guess she goes left. She goes right. Which way is she going? Got it! Yes! Different definition of sharpshooter. I'm very simple-minded. I still find it funny. And there are plenty of moms out there that, I didn't waste any breast milk. I didn't do that. It was just when I was pregnant. So, yeah, that's right. I guess technically also. But he never, saw it coming every time. Every time. I was like, hey, come here. Gotcha. Hey, come here. Gotcha. No. I dealt with it afterwards. It was still funny. So I didn't actually get to breastfeed my children because they wouldn't latch on. But I was determined to get them breast milk. So I pumped. I was literally like Bessie the cow. Because it was 9 ounces each side every 2 hours. And then if I was late by 20 minutes, it was another 2 to 3 ounces. The amount of breast milk that I could produce. I was told, my biological mother told me she could never produce any milk. At all. She was able to produce it for my sister, biologically. Not able to do it, for me. I just don't think she tried, realistically. So, I was like, all right. So I was expecting, I went and got formula because I was like, okay, well, I guess I'm just not going to be able to do that. Nope, no problem. I had so much breast milk in storage that by the time I got knocked up again, and it's called knocking boots, so don't get offended. I didn't have to breast pump. I had enough. I had the whole freezer was filled on one level with the little 9-ounce bags. It was filled. I was literally Bessie the cow in a figurative way, where the bottom and part of the top and the entire door of the freezer was full. And then that didn't include in the actual fridge an entire U shape of the refrigerator on each level. Each level had that full of breast milk. I was like, well, and then part of the doors. And I was like, well, I don't know, there's no problem. So then, when I delivered my daughter, there was still breast milk from that. I did not have any issues. So then, afterwards, after she was born, I was like, okay, I gotta do this for couple of months and I'm good. They had breast milk until they were 2 years old to go with their food. But that's much, and I mean my daughter was 2 years old, had enough. And so I had actually found out that you could donate breast milk. And I was like, oh, well, let me contact the companies that do that, because they're preemies, and so there you can do that. Uh, Told them about the medical stuff, and they were like, no, no, not with what's been prescribed to you. I'm like, okay. And then they told me like the processes for like the sanitation for all that, and I was like, yeah, I don't know if I could do that anyway. And so, I mean, my children got it, so that works. But, I also wouldn't be surprised. Not that I don't want to say that I condone it, but I also at the same time understand it. So, like, if somebody in the NSA had heard that discussion on the phone and they hypothetically knew certain aspects, if I had enough that there was no way I would be able to tell if like a bag or two went missing. I had a door. Literally, like, especially if I was continuing to pump at that time, I would never have noticed because of the amount that I was producing. And so if they were able to do stuff with that, meaning since I had already been talking with Air Force guys and military guys about certain things. And then there was also when I was in the actual hospital after delivering my son, not just when he was in the hospital and I was breast pumping and in Lackland Air Force Base at Wilford Hall, if they took some, especially if it was before I found out that I could donate. But if they took some when I was there, we're like, well, let's see what. Unintended. And then afterwards, when I wound up, I did everything I could after delivering my son, and I literally mean everything I could. But he had gotten sick after his delivery. He got sick, so there was the events on 9/11. And then I did everything I could as far as speaking with the people in the apartment complex nearby to help the civilians so that they understood certain things, but in a lot of ways more not that the civilians aren't important, but especially like the military guys. And it was one of those, hey, here's a few pointers from when I was in New Jersey that I remember when the 93 attack happened. So here's that. And then I think it was about maybe a week and a half of that continuous stuff. Then my son wound up getting temperature, and that would be when he was hospitalized. And it took hours to get on post to Lackland Air Force Base. It took hours. And it was one of those when getting to the gate, it was like, hey, he has a temperature of 100, and I think it was like 103, 104. Like I will leave the van here, and I'll just run him to the emergency room. I know you guys have to look at everything, and that's fine. Otherwise, if you want, you can have one of the MPs go to the ER. I'll leave the keys with him. He can go take a look and see what's needed. That's perfectly fine. Or SPs, because it was the Air Force. And the guy was like, no, just go. I'm like, okay, thanks. Really appreciate it. And I wound up going back to the command center to be like, hey, please don't, like, I know, like, it was a one-time exception, and I really do appreciate it. Here's the thing, please don't, punish him. Like, if you're gonna yell at him, okay, fine, but like, please don't go too much, because like realistically, like, my son's in the ward now, and so I just wanted to come by and be like, hey, please don't be mad at him, and so while there, because I was pumping, and then there was a lot of talk at that time, not just about my son's health, but what was going on, because it was not even a full month after 9/11 had happened. Wasn't even October yet. Wasn't even October. So then after that, it was while he was in the hospital, it was one of those, okay, well, I need to do whatever. Like, I could feel there were certain things that were going on with me at the time when he was in the hospital, but that was like the least of my concerns at the time. It was one of those, like, not that I didn't care about myself, it was just there was so much going on. Those who were in the hospitals at that time very much understand, and it didn't matter, not saying that it didn't matter where you were, but everybody had some sort of immediate impact after the attacks on 9/11. And my son was born the 2nd of September in 2001. So, whatchamacallit, if they had gotten some of the, because I was on a military post, okay, there you go. And then also in reference to the aspects of when I wound up being hospitalized, which was probably about 3 or 4 weeks after my son got out of the hospital. And I mean, thankfully they let me have him in the room, because my now dead ex-husband, his biological father, was more concerned about everything but my son and I. And so while I was in the hospital recuperating, I was still taking care of my newborn son, and then whatever discussions went on during those times. And I was still pumping breast milk to make sure that my son got what he needed. And there was a mini fridge in the hospital room. That was one of those, if that, like, not that I knew that back then, but looking at it now, it's one of those, if they took a couple bottles, I obviously wouldn't have noticed, but I also wouldn't have cared. Because not in a negative way, not in a mean way, but in a, well, if they were able to see how much I was producing, despite how much, like, I was dealing with at that time, and they were able to find a way to help preemies better, because of not knowing that there is that donation aspect for breast milk and stuff, well, I couldn't complain, because especially with everything that was going on, I'm sure that there were a bunch of people who went into premature labor. And if that occurred, and they were able to, what's the term, splice that, so that way it would be able to be of more assistance and benefit for those children, why would I be upset? Realistically. So, but going back to the original point I was going to bring up. So, with the delivery of both my son and my daughter, so they were both late. So late. Like, they were both 2.5 to 3 weeks late. And so, and even in 2001 and 2002, they could do those tests to, like, genuinely see how far along and all that stuff. And so I was late. Like, neither one of them wanted to leave. That's the way. Both of them were like, Mom, your uterus is great. Let me stay here, because I don't want to go. I don't want to go. I want to stay right here. I want, like, I don't want to go. No thanks. I'll stay right here. And both of them, during the delivery process, I literally felt them, like, each, like, grab onto a rib cage, like, on each side of it, like, no! No, I don't want to go! Get out! Hurts! Get out! It's time! And so I had to be induced for labor for both of them. My membranes were stripped for both of them. And then I was in labor with both of them individually for a week. Nobody is jealous of that. They sent me home. I was like, all right, sure, just go, you should go. And then, both of them went to the emergency room a couple days later. It's like, hey, water broke. No, you're not dilated enough. Go back. Oh, okay. Water broke, no big deal. No big deal. Oh, okay. Not dilated enough. Nope, not dilated enough. Oh, but membranes stripped and stuff. Yes, membranes were stripped. Water broke. Yes, it took 2 days for the water to break for each one. Yeah. Go home. Here's some pills. Go to sleep. I'm not going to take them. You can keep them. No. You need to. Anyway. It doesn't seem right. It's no big deal. Go home. Okay. Did a whole bunch of walking. That didn't help. So then, go back to the emergency room. With one, my son, like my biological parents, my biological sister, and my now dead ex-husband were watching a movie marathon, and the water broke, and I'm like, hey, think I need to go to the emergency room, because no, just clean it up, we want to finish watching this movie. Oh, really? Oh, okay, I guess I'll just clean it up while dealing with contractions. You gonna go watch that movie? You want to watch that movie? Oh, okay. So I literally had to clean up my water breaking while having contractions as my biological family and my now dead ex-husband watched a movie. Before taking me to the emergency room and go. Oh, okay. I don't think that's right. I think that there's a problem there. I think there's a problem. I think that I don't know what it is, but I don't think this is right. I think that I should be in the hospital. No, you're going to go home. Go sleep. Okay, doc. Sure. Dealing with contractions. You got contractions? Oh, wait, no, you're a male, so you have no idea. Okay. Okay. Yeah. You're going to be around females. You want to send me home? Yeah, that's right. I said it too. And he just looked at me and he's like, yeah, you're just, that one particular male doctor, he looked at me and was like, you're just being over dramatic because you're having contractions before you deliver your child. You think? I'm not being over dramatic, but you think that maybe I'm in a little, I only deal with headaches and migraines, and so I'm dealing with that and contraction. Yeah. Okay. You married? And he was like, oh, you're gonna be there for that. And then this moment, you gonna remember. Go home. Okay. Alright. You're gonna hear those cries and screams. Alright, fine. I'll just walk out because nobody thought to get me like a wheelchair to, like, that would have been nice. I mean, it's just throwing that out there. Would have been nice if somebody was like, hey, let me get you a wheelchair so you don't have to walk from like the back part of the parking lot at Wilford Hall to go up to the emergency room or back to the car. You know, whatever. Like, I'm just saying, like, it would have been nice. Just throwing that out there. It's a little painful, but no, okay. It's just both times. Both times. Well, no big deal, just, you know. And so, yeah. I hate you. Oh, I hate you. You're just saying that because you're in pain. I don't know about that right now. Couldn't get me a wheelchair to help. All right. I hate you. Just go to sleep. Oh, okay. I don't hate you, but I'm very mad at you. I can distinguish despite how much pain I'm in. And so, just saying. And so, so then, you know, 7 days of labor. And then, so then, like, I finally get admitted, like, for each one of them. Now, with my son, I developed an infection. They had to put me on, not only did they have to put me on antibiotics, but then because I wouldn't dilate, they put me on Pitocin to make the contractions stronger. And it's like, oh, okay, that doesn't seem smart, but oh, okay. And so the nurse who went to take, like, my blood pressure in the middle of a contraction, she wound up being kicked across the freaking room because she didn't want to listen. I mean, I told her, I would think that you might get a different reading. You know, just, no, you know better because you got your nursing degree. All right. Yeah. Okay. I don't think, I don't know. Did somebody's blood pressure raise when they're dealing with contractions compared to not? Oh, okay. Oh, but you want to go on break. Okay. Well, I will give you a break. It's going to be where you apparently fly across the room and slide down that wall because there's a wall there. And there you go. That's what you get. And then I ripped off the blood pressure cuff, finished the contraction as the monitor saw, and the rest of the medical staff in the room saw. And, like, none of them helped pick her up because she didn't deserve it anyway. And then after the contraction, I put the blood pressure cuff back on and I pushed the little button. I'm like, all right, then now you can take a blood pressure and get an accurate reading. Oh, done. There you go. Oh, you're still sitting on the floor. Oh, okay. And then she was crying about being in pain, and it's like, I don't know. I don't know. I'm the one in the hospital bed, and I'm delivering. I don't know. I kind of don't care about your pain at all whatsoever. And if you didn't try to do, like, a blood pressure reading in the middle of a contraction, you probably would have been kicked across the room and did it with that. I'm just going to throw that out there. Like, not trying to be mean, just pointing out reality. And so she was mad. I didn't care. I still don't care. Point being, after that, when I was going through the OBGYN in reference to my daughter's pregnancy, after I think it was the first trimester had ended, and I was in the second trimester, I was like, hey, OBGYN guy. And he's like, yeah. While, like, that's going on when I deliver her, can you just snip, cut, you know, burn, you know, and I don't have to worry about getting knocked up again. And the guy was like, no, you're too young. And he said, no, I'm half Chinese. And in that culture, this is technically you know, I'm just saying, so, like, I have two. Why and more? Well, what if you get a divorce? I don't care. Well, what if you get remarried? I don't care. God's gonna, if that winds up happening, where I wind up getting remarried to somebody else, he's gonna accept the fact that I don't want to have any more children. He's gonna love me for who I am. And if he doesn't, understand that I'm not gonna get it reversed, then we don't need to be together. And the guy was just like, well, okay, you remember, I'm not having a litter. I'm just saying, I have two, and that's it. I only wanted two. I got my two. I'm done. And so every year after that, I repeatedly, please just give me a tubal ligation. No, you might change your mind. No, I'm not going to change my mind. I can adopt if I really, 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 really feel like it. But I had my two. I'm done. Well, what if you get remarried? Again, he's either going to love me for who I am and understand that I don't want to have any more children, or he's not. Well, what if he wants to have children? Well, then he's going to understand that, we can adopt. I don't care. You're so selfish. No, I'm realistic. I have every right to choose what I want to do with my body. And I am done. No, not going to get knocked up. Not going to reverse it. You might change your mind. You don't understand how stubborn I can be. you don't understand how stubborn I can be. I had that discussion with multiple times. You don't understand how stubborn I can be. If I say, I promise you, I promise you, I'm not going to want a reversal. I promise. And so, fast forward to when I actually was able to get a tubal ligation. The doctor, now, I will pause. So the delivery for my daughter, same thing, 7 days, walk to the emergency room. No wheelchair for you. Why do you need a wheelchair dealing with headaches and migraines as well as contractions for labor? What's wrong with you? While I am carrying my son's car seat, because, imagine that. Okay. No. So, I'm going and had the 7 days of labor, and when in comparison, so when in the second delivery, the nurse, yes, nurse opens the door just a crack, and she goes, yes, ma'am, the doctor's in the middle of delivery, so we can't give you an epidural just yet. I mean, granted, my now dead ex-husband was not in the room. He had gone home to sleep, but the playpen with my son was in there. And then, the pain was a different type of pain and all this other stuff. And so, okay. Because in my son's delivery, when they kept telling me, we can't give you an epidural, at some point, I don't know what day it was, and I don't know how many times I had been told by that point that they couldn't give me an epidural. I look at the doctor and I'm like, your degree is a really expensive piece of toilet paper. I was infuriated. And I had already kicked the nurse across the room by that point. So I was like, I'm in a lot of pain. We can't give you any pain medication, because if we give you pain medication, you're not going to dilate. I'm taking a few days to dilate at this point after you guys stripped my membranes. I'm just saying, maybe, just maybe, a little pain relief would be really, 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 really helpful. Is that too much to ask? Can I even get some Tylenol up in here? Like something. Something. No? No? Okay. Then don't complain about the words that come out of my mouth. Because that doctor was so offended. He was like, I don't care. I hope when you are, with your, I hope that you have to sit there and I hope, and he was just like, you don't mean that. No, I do. I do. I do. I do. You don't want to give me some form of pain relief? I hope, and I promise it will happen. I promise. And he was just like, okay, well. Saw that guy like a few weeks later after delivering James, and apparently his wife was pregnant. And we saw each other in the hallway. I'm like, hey, what's up? And he's like, So then when I went to deliver my daughter, we can't get it. The pain's not that bad right now. I mean, comparatively to, delivering my son, ain't not that bad. And so then, she reads the file again. She's like, are you? Yes, I am. That would be me. Yeah. Wow, like you are absolutely nothing like what is in the, it's a different situation. The pain's different. Well, we could give you a shot of Demerol. Oh, that would have been probably really, really nice. Probably would have helped a lot last year. But yeah, not too much, because it's just a little bit of pain. You don't have to give me a full dosage, just enough. And they were just, the nurse, oh, okay, you are so much nicer. Like, yeah, well, I'm not dealing with an infection. At the same time of all this other stuff, apparently right before 9/11 happened. And then, my, not here. So, there's that, like complaining at me for being in pain during contractions. So, there's that. Probably has something to help on, like, not being in as much pain. That stress level. Probably not nearly as bad. Probably assists with the pain levels being lower. Probably. Got the shot of Demerol. Oh, okay. Yeah, I don't feel that anymore. Yeah, that's not so bad. Okay, thanks. You have a good one. But again, I had to be sewn up. So anyway, when I wind up actually getting the approval, which was in 2008, took that long to get it. Every year, each year I went for an appointment. And then during all of my doctor appointments, in between my request, do you think that maybe you could convince one of the doctors to let me get a tube of medication? Well, I'm not in that stage. Yeah, but could you, like, maybe you could put it in, I don't want to go through. Well, why don't you? Because I had 7 days of labor with each one. Do you want that for, some of them were older doctors, some of them, do you want that for your wife or do you want that for your daughter? No. Okay. I just do it. Come on, help me out. Come on. Like, I'm not asking for much. I just don't want to have any more children. Like, I just don't want to go through labor and delivery anymore. Like, I don't think that's too much to ask. So then, to ensure later on, I was like, when it came to my tattoos and stuff, I was like, I know that at some point I'm going to get a tattoo here. I don't know what it is. At that time, I was like, but I'm going to get it done. I'm going to get it done. I'm so, like, I am not having it. So after getting a tummy tuck before my tubal ligation, I had made the appointments. And then I found out that if I had gone through the military to get the tubal ligate or the tummy tuck, and the because I'm breastfeeding, yeah, that it would have taken appointments away from guys that were actually like in the war zones, and I couldn't like I scared the doctor at that appointment. I absolutely petrified him because he was like, "Oh, well, I could put your name on a list." And I'm like, "No, don't waste it." And he goes, "What do you mean?" And I was like, I'm not willing. Like, that is an aesthetic thing. Like, it is for my own self-esteem. I don't deny that. But there are guys that need that self-esteem much more than I do right now. Like, with what's going on, and that was the appointment request for that plastic surgery was in, I think it was 2004, maybe 2005. I was like, no, I can't do that. And he was like, no, I could just put your name. Yeah, but if you put my name on that list, then that means there's at least one, but I'm looking at 2 different surgeries, so that's technically 2. And so those are 2 different appointments, 2 different things. And I hope that there's a day that I can just get them done at the same time and not have to worry about it. And then those appointments, all those consultations and stuff like that, no, I cannot take that from the guys who are, I'll wait. Maybe there'll be a day that'd be cool, awesome. But up until that point comes, I could not get that done knowing that I took all those appointments away, because I don't know how many consultations it would take. I don't know how many appointments that would take, and then how many hours that would take. You know, for the guys that just need a little, you know, depending on the time for each one, you know, if I can get it done in one surgery, then great. But if you're telling me I got to go through different, no. How many guys could be taken care of in those times? How many appointments could be done? No, I'm not going to do it. He was like, no. I will be mad at you if you put my name on that list. I don't want to take that away. There are guys that, you know, they've got, you know, shrapnel wounds, they got burn wounds, and the time that it would take for just one of the surgeries could regraft an entire area for somebody that dealt with a fire wound. I'm not willing to take that away. And the doctor was just like, oh my God, are you kidding me? I was like, no, I'm not kidding you. I'm not going to take it with what's going on right now. If it wasn't a war and I could just instantly get it done, that'd be no problem. I could go on a waiting list for that. But not with everything that's going on. There are guys that are going to have all sorts of things, and already do, because by that time, and no, like those guys, they have enough to deal with. They have to deal with all the stuff that they saw, that they can't unsee, that they have to work through. They have to go through various things to reacclimate to being in the civilian sector, on top of that. And then they also have to deal with other stuff, not forgetting whatever wounds that those appointments, they could be taken care of. So I can keep that hidden under my clothes. Some of them won't be able to, aren't able to. And if it gives them that ability to get that taken care of, I can wait. Because that is more important to me, even if it's only 2 soldiers that get taken care of. That's 2 soldiers that feel so much better about themselves and are able to go on and do other stuff. So how many consultations per appointment would I have to look at and wait through? And the doctor told me. I was like, so with just the tummy tuck, you're telling me that's 6 different appointments or 6 different consultations for however many? Yes. How about the breast thing as well? About 7. So at minimum, that's, to me, 13 different ones that either could be taken care of on the spot and not need a consultation, or they can get their consultations and get their processes started. I'll wait. There'll be hopefully a day where I can get it done. And there was. Later there was. But I wasn't willing to, because as I told the doctor, I wouldn't be able to look at myself and be okay with that. I wouldn't. I would not be able to look at anything of myself. I wouldn't be able to look at myself in the mirror at all. And knowing that I took that away from 2, 6, 13, doesn't matter to me. I couldn't take that. So, but I did get that taken care of later. And when I did, it was in one surgery. And, well, one surgical procedure overall instead of multiple. And that guy did an awesome job. Dr. Zeus did awesome. But, whatchamacallit, as far as the tubal ligation, I got that done. I was like, yep, I have been spayed, neutered. I don't care what it is. I got it done. And then, afterwards I'm like, okay, how do I, put a sign? Because I was going to get one there anyway. I knew that I needed to for my memory stuff. Irony, it's the ocean. And so, not going to mess that up. No, I'm not. At all. Not going to do it. Nope. So, that's the end of this video. Officially. Like and share and all that. And subscribe.